Yes, we are here, we are here, we are here. Many collectives are here today to assist in this information that we need to impress on you because, as you know, we have been scanning and observing those people listening to our information in our sessions, the information that we are providing for all, the information we are providing for all of humanity, to be able to hear our frequency, to feel our energy, to be able to hear from us directly. While many are confused, that they are thinking that they are hearing a female voice from the country that you call New Zealand, that is an illusion of who is speaking to you. We collectively are speaking to you. We are residing in a much higher frequency dimension than you are, but through this channel, through the body who is speaking to you now, we have full access to be able to impress on you the messages that we need you to be able to ponder and think and be able to apply, using your free choice, using your free will to apply this information. Why are we sharing this information with you? You ask yourselves often. It is because we helped you with your life contracts. We know the purposes of why you're here on this planet at this time. We also know what is happening to this planet at this time. We know the significance and the importances of you being there on that planet at that time. We are well aware of this, and we're helping guide you for you to hear us directly without ego of a human being infiltrating our messages. Many of you have thought that you have been hearing from us directly through ego and lack of understanding, lack of consideration for the content we're trying to impress. You know the pressures that we are on to be able to help awaken humanity to itself, to be able to raise the frequency of the vibrations, to be able to shift into a higher frequency dimension. You know this was supposed to be an in-planet experience, and you knew that this was supposed to happen for this planet itself, to be able to help raise the frequency of itself, but it was not able to do it because of the occupants that were upon her body, of Gaia's body, of the body of this planet where her soul was residing. It was too dense for her to do what she naturally wanted. Her own life contract got changed because of the inhabitants on her planet, and it was corroding away her energy. It was blocking her from being able to expand, and it got her in a very challenged position where she actually was quite traumatized from the experience because it was too much density in certain areas and it was eating away, blocking her and limiting her, almost making her a prisoner in her own body. So it was like ravishing her, while it was just not just the surface that was being polluted and created into a density, it was energetically more so that impact too. She couldn't flourish. You basically kept her in her own box. And this was quite a feat considering how huge she is as a soul. So over all of your time, what you perceive as time and history for your planet, all of this conflict, all of this war, all of this negativity, all of this density just kept growing on her and building up and building up and building up and building up. And this is why we helped her many times by sending groups of volunteers to be able to assist, to be able to hold a higher frequency of vibration, and to be able to be in different locations around the planet, drawing on connectivity, grid work lines, to be able to stabilize the frequency of this planet and raise up. And this is a job that many do without even knowing that they do this, connecting into the grid work and stabilizing the grid work and being of service to the grid, which is being so we want to say pure, but it's not really possible for many to be pure because so many people choose to have density. And so when you're holding on to density, you're sort of severing the connection of your purpose here. You're not truly holding the light. You're blocking the frequency of the light, and some have struggled the cabling of the frequency of light to make it almost a dead cable. And so it is hard for us to explain how we transmute energy and pass it on to each other and connect it in to be able to help stabilize the planet. Of course, this is now different. And so those volunteers who came down to hold the light, the problem is that consciously they have forgotten that they are doing this. And so when they're holding density, when they're holding judgment, when they're holding bitterment, when they're holding resentment, when they're holding a whole lot of frustrations, even being frustrated being here is strangling that cable of light. And so many who are here as big energy workers who could hold huge frequencies of light, because they don't want to really be here, because they don't really want to truly help humanity, because they don't really like humanity, they don't really like people, they're not really respecting their roles, which is to be a pure vessel of love. And when people are bitter being here, you are firmly shrinking down the capability of holding light, because you're holding on to density. And so many of the first wavers strangled their own cords of light, and they had exit points because they were not of service. And you had to either have a big walk-in to be able to finish the job. Some took exit points with suicides, which were not part of their life contracts. There is many responsibilities when you choose to be a volunteer. Simply being here is not enough. You actually have to do your own inner work to be able to stabilize your own connection and hold as high frequency as possible to have that pure light channeled through you, out, and supporting others. And we see many people here who are not taking their responsibilities seriously. They think that they're just special deals here and that humanity should owe them. But the thing is, and humanity doesn't know that you exist. Humanity doesn't know your life purpose and mission here. And right now, as humanity stands, you haven't done your job enough to get the praise, because humanity hasn't evolved, because you're judging humanity just as much as everyone else. You're frustrated with them just as like everyone else. You haven't truly given them compassion or consideration, unconditional love to them. You've judged them, you've ridiculed them, you've distanced yourselves from actually being of service and supporting your missions. So do you really think then that you're a big deal when you are a bigger energy being here to do a mission? And we want to remind you all, you are not your higher selves. You are a mere tiny fraction of your higher selves. And your higher selves lent their energy to embody a body here now and to be a best representation of your higher selves, the best you can. And while you're still in the 3D, and yes, it has challenges, which you all trained for, which you all knew you were able to be capable of overcoming when you had the right choices, because you knew you were here for a special mission, you knew you were here to help, but you have chosen not to. And you're still here and scratching your head and wondering why. Why haven't you seen these changes? You're blaming humanity. But you knew that humanity needed help before you even signed up for this lifetime. So why come down here now and then have that attitude and approach? It's a very interesting one from our perspective. We understand that the veil is so thick because you're strangling your connection to us. Because you're holding on to density, you haven't really, truly, honestly done your inner work. You haven't empowered yourself. Some of you love your labels, saying that you're a special being here. But have you stepped up to it? Have you actually fulfilled your role and mission? If you've ever heard us tell you this before, if you've ever heard us question you, are you being of service and be of service? It is not because we want to put extra pressure on you. It is not for anything else but to actually remind you to be of service. And we're pondering as we're watching you all listen and just think, God, I hope it doesn't mean me. I hope it doesn't mean that I have to do work because I'm kind of busy. I'm kind of busy being a big deal here, sitting here judging how stupid people are in 3D. We understand, and we are guiding you and pushing you to really be shaken, to really get a grasp on what you're actually supposed to be doing here. We understand that 3D people who had a lot of trauma and pain are very dense and challenging as they are reacting to everything. And so loving them, respecting them, and to be truly open to them. Not because you have to, but because you want to. You're making these choices thinking that you just have to do it. I just have to help these people. Hideous people. Hideous. Fuck my life. And we're saying to you, you wanted to help them. You trained to help them. You observed how to help them. You did so much preparation to help them. And yet you're here now feeling very resentful that they're not suddenly just doing their work. And we're saying, we don't resent you for not doing your work. And we would like you to start appreciating others so then they could be inspired to maybe do their own work. This must feel like a very tough love conversation that we're having with you now. But you're all responsible for being of service. And we keep seeing people choosing to look the other way, to hope it's someone else's responsibility, to hope that someone else will pick up the slack. And when you choose not to step up, you're really leaving that work and duty for someone else to do because it has to be done. Teamwork, as the vehicle has said, is dream work. Sharing the load, supporting each other, being kind to others, being honest with each other and being honest with selves. Many of you say, but we've got paid jobs. That's really important and significant to us right now. Or we've got families. We can't possibly be of service. Whatever you're excusing yourselves with, it's a distraction. You're purposely limiting yourselves. We also want to say, for those people who know and keep getting the urge to share our content, to share our sessions, but you're feeling very overwhelmed, as if this is your information, as if you own this information. And so you're worried that people may question your sanity, the fact that they suddenly discover you listen to this information. We've said to you before, people merely need to listen to one session to be activated, to be able to empower themselves, to be able to expand themselves, to be upgraded. And yet you constantly choose not to be of service, to build that bridge and to share our sessions and to share our content. We're not saying for you to summarize and mansplain our messages to humanity because we can mansplain it for ourselves. And we love being able to be of service. But we notice when people try to explain our sessions and our information, they're using it with ego, so they're adding fear, confusion, and a whole lot of their own inner work in mixed amongst our information. We've already mastered 3D from our perspective. You can trust that we can see how easy it is to navigate through it when you make the right choices to release everything that no longer serves you, including fear that others will judge you because you're listening to high dimensional information that's actually helping you release the fear and the trauma of your other lifetimes, including this one. You do not have ownership of this information. This information is for all. And when you get pushed and nudged and know that some people, just out of curiosity, maybe even just to trigger them to think outside of the traumatic box they've put themselves in, to give them a new dialogue, to give them a new understanding. But you are forgetting that you're listening to these sessions and have grown so much, and for some reason you do not want your friends to grow with you or along with you, because you assume almost poorly of them that they're not ready, that they're not advanced enough. You're special, you're different. You're looking at them and judging them for the information that they know. And we are saying, invite them to listen to us, because intuitively and energetically, they will know that what the crazy things that we are saying actually does have high value information and perspectives, and curiosity becomes them and overcomes them to want to keep listening to understand what is happening. They may be so deeply triggered that they may just want to think about why they are being triggered. And that is okay, again, because you do not own this information. Even if your friends react and say, this was horrific, it was the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life, that woman speaking to me obviously is just nuts. And so you say, fine, whatever. Don't own the information. Don't own their reactions. Don't own their rejection of this information, because it's not your information, it's our information. And so you don't care either way, truly, how they're going to respond to it, because it's not of yours. You understand it takes some time to understand this. You understand that sometimes this information can be very scary. The first time you are hearing this information and content, it is very confusing, it is very shocking. And you also know that that is not our agenda. Hearing the truth does shock people, because all of the other disinformation that you've been holding on to and distracting yourselves with suddenly becomes very confrontational. But the time for truth and the time to listen directly to us has been for a long time. So why are you still holding back? This is part of your empowerment. You should be okay so much with your belief in the information, and that it resonates with you so much that you should be able to just share the sessions, trusting that the right people will hear it at the right time for them, and that you're helping them. Because we can see many people having conversations with those on the new earth and saying, why was I not told about this? And then they will get access to all the times you have been prompted to share this with them, and you chose to say, no, they're not ready. You cannot be the judge of who is ready and who is not ready at this point. We are guiding you and prompting you. And sure, you may have shared it to others in the past, and they may have just dismissed the conversation. They didn't want to talk about it. It was just too big for them, because it scares them. There is something about the information that makes them stop and think and ponder, which is forcing them to change their perspective, forcing them to change their mindsets, forcing them to change and see the bigger perspective of truly what is happening on this planet at this time. And so again, you are supposed to be here of service to help others. And you know those people that are just too 3D and really scared. And what do? Do you just leave them being really scared? Do you judge them? Do you try to freak them out with this information? Because you freak them out about other information, about the crimes against humanity and your thoughts on certain things that wasn't mainstream compliant. It is time for you just to say, I appreciate the content from this information because I find it interesting. Finding something interesting is not a crime. And sharing your truth about finding something interesting is fine. It is not confrontational. Define interesting. How can they come back at you and have an argument with you because you found something interesting? Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid of someone having a reaction to you because you find this interesting? You're preparing yourself to have a fight with people who do not like the information. And we are saying we are guiding everyone. Are you afraid then that when you introduce people to these sessions, that then they want you to be accountable for them and to explain all the information? Are you afraid? Have you not stepped up into your own truth about this information? Are you still confused about this information? You know the vehicle has offered consultations with you to be able to help you. There's many ways for you to build up your vocabulary and speak your truth. You again are not the owner of this information, but you listen with interest to this information. This is important for you to look at your behaviors and your routines and why you're blocking not just yourselves, but why you're blocking others at this point, at this incredibly important point. Of course, everything we have said is not for all who are listening. It couldn't possibly be the case. We have seen marvelous growth, marvelous stepping up. We have seen tremendous activations. We have seen it all, and it is so exciting. And it made us even ponder, why is it not reaching all? Why are so many still choosing not to accept this information? Step up. We have pondered this many times ourselves. And so we've been watching those. And it always comes down to inner work that they are still not processing and stepping up with, and they are still limiting themselves, which is ultimately limiting us to be able to reach you, because the more inner work you still have to process, the less capability you can hear us. This is why we keep encouraging you to listen back to the original sessions that you did, because you will hear them now with much more bigger ears. You will hear them now in its full entirety. You want to see your growth. You want to be proud of your growth. This is marvelous that we see so many that have fully, completely stepped into their growth and their empowerment. And we get so tickled when we see you look in the mirror and with full honesty say to yourselves, I love you. And you're looking squarely at your face and you are honoring you. You are honoring the body you're in now, the mission you are in now, the life experiences that you are having now, and honoring it as that small fraction of your higher selves. It was very gracious for your higher selves to lend its energy for you to have an independent life and full of experiences and lessons. And when that life was supposed to truly be of service here to help this planet at this very important time, it is marvelous those who have stepped up. and have seen the bigger perspective, seen the bigger picture, and really have outgrown the worry of people's reactions to your own growth. Be proud of your growth. Is this the reason why you're still holding and hiding? Because you don't want to show people your growth? Well, it's like your secret. We are your little secret. And we know friends that have us as their little secrets and they refuse to talk to each other about us. It is interesting how people are responding and behaving. We never want to speak to you and make you get the impression that this is a tough love conversation. We are wanting just a minute of your time to have been able to see and be reminded and potentially have self-reflection on your own behavior. Many workers make big work achievable with small pieces. And it is a strain on others when you refuse to play your part. Release the density that you're holding, open up your connectivity to the light, and share it and spread it. And be respectful to others who are actually of service. Stop being jealous, stop being bitter, stop being resentful. Because that has all been felt and seen by all. So really just settle into who you are, be appreciative of your role, and honor it. Honor it not just for yourselves, but for your higher selves. And for all. Be truly of service. It is so completely rewarding when you do. Beyond inner peace, beyond pure love. The satisfaction of knowing how completely bonkers this world looks right now, and you're still floating, and you're still giving joy, and you're still appreciating your days. How extraordinary is that? It looks pretty marvelous, pretty extraordinary for us. So we say to those who have been able to step up and be of service, we're so deeply grateful, and our gratitude from all of us to you. May you feel our love. May you feel us adore you, because we know it's not always been easy, and you have chosen to step up out of your comfort zones and to be of true service. And we see those ripple effects. We see your impact, and it gives us so much joy. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. And for those who are not quite there, we want to give you encouragement and hope that you're all very capable of this. Very, very, very capable of this. And this is your time now to step up and expand and be those light beacons. Connect in purely to the light. Hold it and release all that density and shine. Shine, shine, shine. This is all of your time to shine. We feel so grateful for those who are capable in making those choices to shine. And we sincerely say this with so much love.